Today's guest is Robbie Russell. Based out in Nashville, Robbie has made a name for himself as an artist and has used creative videos to amass over 1 million likes and 200,000 followers on TikTok. Welcome, Robbie. How's it
Hey,
going, man?
have me on. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
Doing so good. So
Nice.
let's start back to the beginning of your story. Where were you born and raised, and then how did music first come into your life?
Yeah, so I was born in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, but I basically grew up in Newport News, Virginia, which is where I claim my hometown. But music's always been big to me. My parents have always indulged in multiple different genres. So I grew up listening to country, old school R&B, rock, stuff like that. But as I got older and decided to kind of pick this music that I wanted to listen to, I kind of drifted more towards hip hop and R&B. And yeah, I've always loved music, so it was just inevitable that I would end up where I am right now.
That's awesome. Did you ever play any instruments growing up or anything, or what got you into doing music?
Well, I always loved singing, so like I'd always sing in the car. I'd always have my headphones in growing up, and so I'd always just kind of sing that way. But everyone always kind of used to push me and say like, "Oh, you have a great voice. Like you should sing more out in public and for people." So I, in middle school, decided to join the choir, and they had a solo for a Michael Jackson song, and I was like, you know what, I want to branch out. Let me actually try out for this. And so I did, and everybody loved it. The teacher immediately like gave it to me like right off the bat and was like, I love it. Oh my gosh, you're so good. And so basically hearing from other people that they enjoyed my singing really kind of gave me the confidence to want to start singing more in front of people and in front of audiences. And then as time kind of went by, I decided to start dabbling in writing, and yeah, and the just kind of moved from there.
That's awesome. When did you first start writing? Like, what age were you, and what kind of songs were you writing?
I was like 14 or 13, I think. It was right before I started high school. But I had just started listening to Drake. That's all I remember is I started listening to him, and I was like, okay, like I can do what he does. And like listening to other artists do remixes and stuff, I was like, all right, like I like that. That's cool. Like hearing like their spin on someone else's song. So I really just started writing remixes to other artists' songs. And it was really just kind of like freestyle rap, like just really shitty quality songs, but just me kind of rhyming words. And I really enjoyed that. And then I had a friend who kind of sent me some beats and was like, yeah, I mean, just like see whatever you want to do with them. And so I started writing my own stuff from there. And it was really more centered towards hip hop and rapping because I wasn't necessarily comfortable with my singing voice really at that point. But as I kind of grew as an artist and writing, I started expanding and deciding to sing more rather than rap, and dabble more on the R&B side.
That's awesome. So when did you first get into actually like putting your ideas down and recording them?
Probably around the same time. Like I think my grandma had given me this like snow globe microphone or something like that. And I would set it on my dresser. I'd have my computer right next to me. And whenever I did the remixes, I just started recording in GarageBand that way. Never really did anything with them. I just kind of held on to them. And I think I put them online at one point, but of course, like they're for sure gone now. I do not want those out there. Um, but yeah, so it was probably around the same time I started writing those remixes that I started recording.
That's awesome. Did you start performing around that time as well, or have you ever done live performances? Like, what's your live experience been?
Yeah, so I mean, basically when I was younger, it was really just chorus, singing in like a male choir or like a male and female choir, just doing solos that way. Never really did anything of my own songs until we had like a in my senior year of high school, we had a talent show at school, and so I decided to perform one of my songs. And I like the energy of being able to perform my own music. So then from there, I kind of did some super small shows around Virginia Beach area and Newport News, just to my own like backtracks and stuff like that. So that was always cool. But then ended up moving to Nashville, and through living here for 4 years now, I ended up kind of creating a band with some friends and have been able to perform live with them playing along to my own songs, which has been great. But yeah, I mean, that's about the extent of my experience right now. I've dabbled in a few shows, but not too many performing my own stuff live, and but definitely hoping for more in the future.
Yeah, that'll be awesome when you do. So tell me about your experience moving to Nashville. What made you want to take the plunge to go out there, and what was your original experience when you first did get out there?
So I came to Nashville for school. So I was at Virginia Tech to begin with. Did not like the environment there because I knew I wanted to do music, and all that was out there is just open fields and cows. So like I didn't like that environment. So I decided to look into music schools, and Nashville has Belmont. So I decided to transfer there. Love the environment and everything like that. So as soon as I visited, I was like, I definitely want to move here. And so studied music there for 2.5 years, I believe. And then like I graduated December 2019, and I've loved it so much. I've just decided to stick around.
That's awesome. What were some of your favorite things you learned at Belmont, or some of the things that you think were the most important for you to learn?
So it really was less from like the classes and the actual school learning, and more just personal connections that I built with people and that I learned from other people in Belmont rather than like actual education versus that way. Um, but just kind of being true to myself and not trying to put on a front of creating this like character as an artist and trying to act all mysterious and like I'm this like tough guy, like I don't show emotion kind of thing. Just kind of being myself and making the music that I still want to make, but just being a genuine person at the same time and not feeling like I have to like change just based off of what people on social media think I should be doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. What was happening to the artist side of your life while you were at Belmont? Like, were you doing more productions? Were you working with people? Were you learning to do it yourself? Kind of what was your experience with that?
It was definitely more just me figuring things out on my own, like really kind of understanding myself and finding my sound, like how what songwriting style really fit me best. I'd just gone through like a really bad breakup when I moved here, so it was a lot of time spent just by myself and me in my head figuring things out. So through that, I felt like I really grew to find my sound and to really find my voice with writing. Um, so really more just that discovery. Less, I've started working with people more and collaborating a lot more, but it was definitely a lot more of a personal, like artist growth for myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. So eventually you started going on TikTok. Tell us about your experience starting with that. Like, what was it like just in the beginning? And were you afraid of TikTok? Were you overwhelmed? Did you understand it really well? What was it like just being brand new as an artist at TikTok?
So I was really against it at first. I'm not gonna lie. Like my girlfriend tried to put me onto it, and I was like, "Isn't that the app where all these like 13, 14-year-olds are on?" I feel like I'm too old for that. But I hopped on and just kind of tried posting more like comedic videos because that's what I was seeing on my timeline a lot. But then my girlfriend gave me the idea. She was like, "You should start remixing people's songs, like and putting videos out." And at the time, I thought it was corny because I was like, "No, I really want to focus on my own stuff and not put time aside for that." But with quarantine and everything happening, I had a lot of time on my hands, so I decided to start writing and recording those and kind of figure out a formula for the videos and everything and just started dropping them. They really didn't do well at first, but then all like literally overnight, one of my videos just kind of popped. And then from there, I started to put out more videos continuously. And then it's just like random ones will kind of blow up. Like I've had two that have hit 1 million now, and they were ones that I really didn't expect it. So it was a very interesting experience hopping on TikTok, but I'm very thankful for kind of the doors it's opened for me at this point.
Yeah, I bet. Absolutely. I mean, it seems like it's been huge for you.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I mean
it's like I was looking through your TikTok feed and you'd see the beginning videos were like 600 likes. Then you hit like at 4,000, then you go back down to 2,000. And then next one's like 40,000 and then back down 2,000. And then one just shot up like 100,000.
yep.
Is that kind of how TikTok is for you? Is it always just kind of a roller coaster of, you need to stay consistent, but sometimes they do shoot up?
Oh yeah, I mean I definitely have to stay consistent because I mean I've personally noticed that because I moved about a month ago, but during that 2 week period of me moving, I didn't have any material to post. I was really kind of getting my place together. So I was inactive. And then now trying to get back into it and post stuff, I can really see the engagement kind of slowly declined. So definitely trying to build it back up to what it was. But told people multiple times, TikTok is very strange. Like you can post and it'll flop, but when it hits, it hits. Like if you have something that blows up, it'll blow up and it'll definitely result in a lot of open doors.
Yeah, exactly. So were these remixes you're posting, were those made before TikTok or are those kind of just made up close to when you released the videos? Were those remixes you've done for a while or what?
No, I mean, I would write those, probably take like 30 minutes to an hour to try to write out like a 16 bar verse for it, record them, and then like literally as soon as I get them back from my engineer, I mean, I hop in front of the camera, I set up all the ring light, the microphone and everything, and I record the video, and then as soon as I have that done, I've kind of found now that I just post them on Tuesday mornings because those get the best engagement. So um yeah.
That's awesome. So what advice would you give to other artists who are kind of like you were in the beginning, where you're kind of hesitant to take the plunge into TikTok? What advice would you give them with to get started?
I would just say like be open to different ideas. Like don't think of like, oh no, like I need to just strictly focus on my own stuff. Like you got to find ways to incorporate your artistry into areas that people want to see it. So with the remixes, like people wanted to see those, they like those. Instead of just trying to focus on like, oh, let me just push my original content, which is very difficult to get engagement in. You want to try to tap into um, a field where people are very active and they want to see more of that similar kind of material. So I'll definitely just say be open to new ideas and don't be afraid to kind of hop on trends. Like you're not just like a wave rider at that point. Like it's being smart, especially from an artist standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk more about your original music. When did you first release your own original recordings like to the world? I know you have an EP out, stuff like that. Tell us more about the creation process of that and what it took to get it out.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been releasing music, like my own original work, since like 10th grade. So 2012 or 13, I think. Um, but very low quality stuff. It wasn't until around I started college where I met an engineer and started putting out my own stuff and more high quality work. But my most recent EP, which I put out, Cupid's Target, that one I finished writing it about 2 years ago and just did nothing with it because I knew that I liked this body of work and I wanted it to do something bigger than what I had at the moment. So I decided to hold on to it, be patient. And it wasn't until last summer that I actually got it mixed and mastered and was feeling comfortable, like, all right, I think I'm ready to start putting this out. And I mean, it was crazy how I felt ready to put it out. And then all of a sudden, boom, I kind of blew up on TikTok and started getting that following from there. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, let me kind of ride this out a little more, see how much of a following I can get. And so it was just really a waiting game at that point for when I felt comfortable with the audience that I built up from there to release this new body of work and introduce them to the artist side of me rather than just the remix video me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Are you glad you waited so long to release it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's getting a great reaction from my point of view at this point right now. Like, of course, I have over 200,000 followers on TikTok, but with that, of course, I'm only going to get like a small fraction of it that's actually going to follow me with my own original music. So I'm pretty happy with how I waited on that one because it's a very special project to me. Like I put a lot of emotion, a lot of thought into the writing, everything for that EP. So I'm very happy with the amount of time that I decided to wait and kind of let it cultivate until the right time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for the creation of the EP, is it more of a collaborative effort, like you're working with people to write the songs, produce the songs, or is it a lot of you just doing the stuff?
It's a lot of me just doing the stuff. So I write it such a fast pace that I'm constantly on YouTube just searching like the weekend type beat 2021 kind of thing like that. And whatever beat immediately sparks an idea in my head. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna write that one down. I'm gonna save it. And so for that EP, it was all around basically around the same few months. Like I wrote all of them because it was all the emotions I was feeling. I was like, all right, I want to get all these out in an actual body of work rather than just random singles. So I found the beats I wanted and I recorded to those songs. I got 2 features on it. One of them was actually just a good friend of mine. So I just reached out to him and was like, hey, would you want to do this? And he was like, yeah, of course. And he hopped on it. And then I got another artist named Josh who I found on Instagram and heard his stuff on Spotify. I really liked him, reached out to him. He's a genuine guy and he decided to hop on it. But I mean, other than just reaching out for the features and finding the beats, I mean, the vocals and the writing and everything like that, that's all me.
Wow, that's awesome. So what would you say drives your music? Like what makes you want to do it? It sounds like you're doing it at such a fast pace with both your own music and the TikTok videos. What keeps you going?
It's really just knowing that I don't want to work in a office setting for the rest of my life. Like I don't want to be confined to a desk. Like I really want to pursue music because it's the only thing that really makes me feel alive and like happy and know that okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like I've known it since I was 18. Like this is it for me. And so just knowing that and knowing that of course like the clock is ticking the older I get and like that window of when people really kind of make it is slowly starting to close. I'm like, all right, I got to grind it out. I gotta focus on these remixes. I gotta put out these videos. I have to got to start working on my own content and just keep pushing it so that hopefully one day that can actually be my dream can become a reality.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it seems like it is. I mean, it seems like it's on its way there for sure. I mean, you're taking the right steps, putting out the right sounds, you're doing it creatively, and you're standing out, which is huge. So I think it's going to go places.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
Yeah. So let's talk about Nashville. How does Nashville compare to the place you grew up, kind of the smaller towns and all that?
Oh man, I mean it's huge. I mean, people call it Nash Vegas for a reason. I mean, it's so popping. There's so many people constantly visiting here or moving here. It's a much faster paced city than where I grew up. I mean, it was where I grew up was very small. Like I love all my friends and family that are still there, but it's very much like if you don't move out of there, you're stuck. Like you're that's where you're going to be. You're not going to move. That's it for the rest of your life. But Nashville is great. I mean, with it being so fast paced, it really motivates me to continue pushing my music and continue working hard. Like everyone else around me is working hard. Like I have friends that are in multiple bands doing their own stuff, creating their own projects, just constantly working. So seeing that really pushes me and motivates me.
Would you say that those connections around Nashville are competitive or are they more supportive or what's kind of the community like there?
Oh, it's very much more supportive. Like I grew up in a community that was very like dog eat dog. Like no one really wanted to support the other person. It's more like, okay, I'm doing my thing. I'm not going to help you out with yours. Like it's every man for himself out here. But Nashville, like I've met some great people. I've built some fantastic relationships with people to where I could reach out and really just ask them to if to help me out with something and the drop of a dime, I mean, they're on it. They're ready. They're ready to help. So yeah, I really appreciate every single person that I've met since I've moved here and every connection I've built.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what piece of advice would you give to an artist who's thinking of moving out to Nashville and kind of just chasing the music career there, like so many do?
I'd say when you get here, be ready to run. Like you got to hit the ground running. Like there's no getting here and just kind of waiting it out. Like you have to make that move to meet people, build those connections, and to attain that next goal. Like it's not just going to be handed to you because I mean, there's so many people out here trying to do the exact same thing. I mean, it's like moving to LA or New York. I mean, it's very fast paced. There's so many other people basically doing the exact same thing you want to do. So if you're not willing to put in that work, the person to your left or your right is going to be willing to do it and they'll have a better chance.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that advice. I think it's great. So what are you excited for this coming up?
Just lots of remixes. I got a whole bunch of them lined up. I have a deluxe version of my EP, which is ready to go. Got a lot of lyric videos for it as well. So it's all about just timing and planning things out now. But I mean, I have a lot of material. I'm very excited for the rest of this year. Um, Not planning on slowing down anytime soon. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's good you have things lined up, ready to go, rather than just waiting at the last moment and hoping something happens.
Exactly, man. You got a plan. You can't just expect things to happen. You got to keep it moving.
Absolutely. So, talking about plans, what are your future goals? Like, what do you want to achieve with your music career?
Oh man, well, that's more of like a personal goal. TikTok trying to hit 500,000, like that. Of course, that would be huge. Um, and I'm just trying to get to a point where I have a big enough fan base to where I can consistently release music and basically without promoting, of course I'm going to promote it, but without promoting, I know that it'll do well. Like I just have people that are there just ready to listen at all times, ready to see what Robbie's going to do next, like, and listen to the stories that I tell with my music. So I think just want to continue to build up my audience and hopefully get to that point to where I'm just closer and closer to the dream of being able to do music full time.
That's awesome, man. I think you're on your way. I've seen your stuff and I think it's great. I think you're going to go places.
I appreciate that, man.
Of course. Hey, well, thanks for joining me today. It's been great to talk to you and hear your story.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I really appreciate you contacting me and asking me to be on this. I mean, I think this is great what you're doing, and I'm excited to see where this goes.